Hi, in this video I'm going to give you some basics about what you're going to receive as supplies and some things to do with them. I'm going to give you guys some palettes. This is a pastel palette. I also have a more primary color palette. Hopefully I'll be able to give each of you one. I'm pretty sure Jen already has a lot of colors, so I don't think I need to give her ones. But I also will give you brushes, big brushes and maybe some little brushes for you to practice on, and some flat brushes, and I think I have enough to give everybody one of these as well. Just different things. At the school, if you could bring those supplies back, because you guys will be using these mostly. I do have my basic colors as well in my kit, in my face painting kit. But I will also have these. These are called the rainbow cakes. I have lots of different colors. I'm not going to give any to you to practice with because I need them for my face painting business. But this is very popular, and I will show you how to use that as well. Anyway, so I will give you brushes. I will give you sponges. Sponges are very useful. Just a word on cleaning up. I always have baby wipes. I use the non-allergic ones. I think the simplest formula, whatever. Huggies. I use the Huggies only because they're easiest to pull out. It's really a pain in the butt if you're in a hurry and you're trying to wipe something off. These are useful for many different things. Cleaning your brushes, wiping your brushes off. I always have one down underneath my paint and where I'm painting so I can wipe off a brush really quick if I need to. So they're very useful. I will bring a ton to the spring fling night, so you don't have to bring your own, but that's just one of those things that's helpful. They can pretty much wipe off any of the paint off your skin. They should. I use that most of the time. If it does not come off, if your color does not come off right away, now it will come off, but if it doesn't come off right away, like some of these greens and blues do not come off as quickly, what you want to do is use a little bit of lotion on your face, or whatever kind of lotion you want to use for your arm if you're using your arm, and let it sit for half an hour or something, and then wash it again with soap and water, and it should pretty much come right off. These paints are FDA approved. They come off fairly easily. Pretty much now, once they're dried, I mean, I know there's some kids who want to sleep in them. I would say put a towel on your on your pillow, because it might come off on the pillow, and it does not come off as easily on fabric. That's one thing to remember. Try not to get it on your clothes or your kids' clothes or something. You know, any fabric that you do not want to stain, because it doesn't come off as easily on that. That said, you know, it will stay on for a while if it's not washed off. Anyway, so some basics on painting. We'll just use a basic round brush. This is one of my favorites. If you ever get into it, the Low Cornell are really nice. They have a lot of different brands, but the yellow ones are nice. You see they have a nice tip at the end. That is useful, and I will show you why in a minute. So to start out with, you take your brush. You always want your brush to be wet. Okay, and I am actually cleaning this brush off. If your brush, most of these brushes will clean off really quickly. So if you want to use the same brush for different colors, just rinse it off in the water. Wipe it off on a wet wipe, on a baby wipe, to make sure there's no color left on it, and then use it for another color. Now, you don't want it dripping. No, that's not good. Not dripping. But if it's not wet at all, it's not going to paint either. I mean, you have a brush. This brush is not very wet, and this paint is not very wet. And you can see it's kind of like it's not very clear line. So not enough water. And this is one of the reasons why you want to practice a little bit, to see different paints. Like this is wolf White. Wolf White. Hopefully I'll be able to give you some. I think I have some empty little tubs to put it in. And you can use that because it covers things better and it doesn't need as much water. The Snazaroo, which is the paint that I'm going to give you, needs a little more water, but the white doesn't cover as well. But it has nice colors and a lot of face painters use it, and it's still like the same FDA approved and all that other stuff. Anyway, so you get your brush wet. In the very beginning, before you start painting, the paints will be dry. This is water activated paint. You need to spray it. If I remember, I'll give you guys a spray bottle as well. If not, these are cheap, $1, whatever. Anyway, so I spray it. Depending on what I want to do, sometimes I want the paint to be a little bit more liquidy. I don't know if this is going to focus. There's a little drip running around there. But to put the paint on the brush, and I guess this is white paint, so it's hard to see, but I want the paint to be really fully on the brush to get a good line and to be able to use it without going back to the paint a million times, which takes a lot of extra time, wastes a lot of extra time. Let me see if I have a brush that has a little more color. Like this, you see. This is how full you want your paintbrush to be. You want it to be going up. Now you don't want it drippy because I just started a different brush. And one of the ways I test it to make sure it's not drippy is I always put it on the back of my hand. And this seems like it's not too drippy. And then just practice with the different paint brushes. One of the things to practice would be a teardrop, press down, pull up. Now, you probably can't see in the video, but I can see that this is a little bit too wet still. Anyway, depending on what kind of thing you're making, sometimes you want it wetter, sometimes you don't. But you don't want it dripping, because that would ruin the design. So press down, pull up, press down, pull up. Oh yeah, and one of the ways to get your paint on your paintbrush, and it really helps, and actually I really like this paintbrush much better, because these paintbrushes come to a better point, is if you want to use like a teardrop, you're going to press down and then pull up to make a kind of nice end that's really thin. So when you put the paint on the paintbrush, you want to spin your brush. Now you can get it wet this way, get it paint full of paint, but then at the very end you might want to spin your brush and it makes it come to a point. And then you're going to press down and bring up to a point. Okay, that's a regular teardrop. Press down, bring it up. Press down, bring it up. You can also see that I'm using my pinky to steady it. Press down, bring it up. These are very useful when you're doing the butterfly, which is a very popular design at Ring Factory with the girls. Okay, so that's one basic technique. Of course, do lines, or, you know, anytime you want to do lines, you know, you don't really need to practice lines so much. But you can use your pinky to steady yourself. Okay. Another technique you should practice is using a sponge. We use the sponges for our butterflies. Like I said, it was very popular. So I would go and get it wet, fully wet, but then squeeze almost all the water out. Squeeze it out. And then I'm going to show you on my rainbow cake just because it's easier to do. And basically for these things, for your palettes, if you wanted to use this for your palettes, like one of the boy designs is a robot, and I usually use a silver, which would be right here, and that's why it's used a lot. I do have some silver otherwise, so you can use that. But you would like rub it. Okay, let me just show you this, and then I'll show you the rainbow cake. So you would rub it. Okay, rub it. And then with sponges, you want to pat. You don't want to slide because it'll make lines. You want to pat. It's kind of like stippling. And okay, I didn't really want to use this so much because it's very hard to see. But anyway, stippling, you want to pat. Let me show you using one of my rainbow cakes. I need to spray it. Okay, I have my yellow, green, blue, purple rainbow cake. And usually, like for butterflies, I'm drying off my arm, sorry. For butterflies, I usually try to get the lighter color on the inside, but you know, if the kid wants something different, I want something different. But for a butterfly, for example, I would pat, 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 pat. And you can see how it's coming there. Now I would fill in this part so it makes a smoother line. Basically pat, pat, and it comes out fine. Not very good showing you on a, it doesn't come out very well showing you on my arm. Actually, maybe a different part of my arm. Let me show you. Let me see if I can do this better on here. So that's a technique that you can practice. And then of course, when you're wanting to make the butterfly very pretty or something like that, let me see if I can turn it around, turn my arm around. I didn't do this very well for, you can make nice teardrops on the arm to make a design. Okay, I wiggle, wiggle, make a teardrop. And then another teardrop. And then a teardrop. And I wiggle, wiggle, teardrop. And you got the, there, and then like I might make another one here. It depends on, everybody's face is different sizes, so you might need more, you might need less. And also you might want to practice doing dots. That's another way that this comes to play. Now with dots you might want a little bit more water, but of course again you don't want it dripping. You want to practice dots. I like doing them in threes. So I would do a big dot and then maybe two little dots, or a medium size and a little one. Big dot, medium size, little one. And you can make them bigger, you know. Little. Now, a lot of times you see like they're all like kind of going in too. So this would be the inside of their eye right here. And that would be the outside. So usually when you're making a design, you want to kind of make them in. That's why I make the big dot on the outside and the little dots on the inside. Anyway, this video is really long. That's just some basics. I'll tell you some more on another video.